Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part of our leadership team series of webinars that we cover on a monthly basis, and now is a great time to be doing that because as of October 1st, we're going to have a whole lot of new people in their positions in chapters around the world. So we're going to spend the next couple of days going through some of the really important functions in BNI Connect that are specific to leadership teams. Now, some of those things are going to be like entering POMS reports and entering speaker rotations and pulling data out of BNI Connect. They're going to cover those in our tools and reports tomorrow. On Thursday, we're going to be talking about how to establish goals for your leadership team. And then on Friday, we're going to talk about the online renewal process and how that works for both members, as well as for membership committees and vice presidents having to approve those online in BNI Connect. But today, what we're going to be talking about is the BNI Connect chapter web pages. One thing that you may or may not know about BNI Connect is that it does act as a kind of WordPress for all of the chapters out there around the world. So all 7,500 or so chapters around the world have the ability to have a chapter website, and by default you will have one, assuming your region is online in BNI Connect. You will have a default chapter website, but as a leadership team person or as the person assigned as the chapter webmaster, you can go in and edit those those chapter websites, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. Now, before we get started on the topic of today's presentation, just a couple of quick housekeeping things. Firstly, this is a live webinar, so if you're here with us today, that means that you can ask questions. So if you have any questions as we're going through the material today, just type that question in. I'll see it pop up on my screen and I can answer it as we're going through the material today. Now, if you happen to not be listening to this live, then you'll know that this is being recorded as well. We do record all of our webinars and we make them available in a couple of different places. First, you can find them on the support site, support.bniconnect.com, or just click the question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect. So that's where you'll find our live and recorded webinars. Again, upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect, just click this question mark up here. The other place you'll find our recorded content is on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, you will find all of the recordings there as well. Now, we are scheduled for about 30 minutes. It takes actually about 25 minutes or so to go through the chapter web pages. That said, I am always happy to stay on these calls until every single question has been answered. This is what I do all day, every day. I answer questions about BNI Connect. So while you got me, feel free to pick my brain, ask me about anything in BNI Connect, and I will be happy to answer that question. All right, so let's get started with today's material. Again, we're going to be talking about the chapter web pages here in BNI Connect. And as I said, every chapter has a web page. So if you're not sure what your chapter web page is, where it is, or what it looks like, here's how to find it. The easiest way to find that. See this button once you log into BNI Connect? See this button in the upper right-hand corner? That says Regional Website. Now, this is going to pull up the website for wherever you happen to be a member. Now, we have people from all over the world on the call with us today, but this, for me, is going to bring me to my regional website, which happens to be BNI Rhode Island and Southeastern Massachusetts. So this is our site. Your site may look slightly different. That's okay. Once you get there, click on Find a Chapter. You can either just leave it blank and search for all the chapters, or search for your chapter. I'm going to go ahead and click on my chapter here, BNI Wakefield. Now, this here is just the chapter information and the chapter roster, but I can see a button here that says Visit Chapter Website, and I'm going to go ahead and click that. It's going to open up in a new window. This is a default chapter website for the most part. There's a couple of very, very minor alterations on this one, but you'll see that it has, for example, on the left-hand side, it shows my chapter, when we meet, what the location is that we meet, an opportunity to click on a link to visit the chapter. It shows who our current leadership is, our president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. who our director consultant is and our area director consultant. Now, all of this information, of course, is pulled automatically from BNI Connect. Now, I know that over the years, so many chapters out there have gone through the extra effort and expense of building their own chapter websites, and just about every single time what happens is they fall out of compliance, and then they kind of get old and stale. And the reason for that is that it's really hard to maintain this information outside of BNI Connect. You're constantly chasing people down for their profiles, or you're constantly having to update who's on the leadership team or where the chapter meets or what time. All that is done automatically for you on a BNI Connect chapter website. Now, the middle of this has some default text. This is really where you can go in and make this website your own. This information here, the thank you for closed business, that will be pulled automatically from BNI Connect. It's going to show the last completed 12 months. So right now it's showing through the end of August. So from September of 2015 through the end of August 2016. In just a couple of days, that number will be rolled forward to the next 12 months, but it will pull that automatically from the system as well. Now, we added a little Facebook link here to our page. It also displays all of the upcoming speakers down at the bottom, as long as your secretary treasurer is entering that into BNI Connect. We also have a couple of other pages. You can meet our members, and this has all of the profiles of all of the members here. So if I was to click on, for example, my profile, you would see my gorgeous mug here and all of my information. There's also a news feed, which has some news that scrolls through, or you can update that as well. And finally, there's also a what's called a chapter gallery that we turned into another little news feed here as a test. Let me show you a couple of more advanced sites, some fun things that people have done with their chapter websites. Now, there's a chapter out there in the UK. It's called the BNI Rugby chapter. BNI Rugby chapter, and here it is in the Warwickshire area. Now, this one, they've done quite a bit on there. So you can see here on the left-hand side, a little fold-out happened that has all their social media links on it. Up in the top right-hand corner, a couple more little social media things. They've completely changed the look of that center portion here. So they put some nice big, bold BNI graphics in there. As you scroll through, this is a very long page. It has lots of graphics and links and a couple of videos here and there, a link to register themselves to visit the meeting, testimonials from the members. I mean, just tons and tons of stuff here. And if we get all the way to the bottom here, there's also a chapter map that they've input into the site as well. They also have their chapter members, so they've customized the header here, so there's a nice flow, a look and feel that stays consistent between the pages. And of course, you can click on any of their members. There's also the chapter gallery. Now, this is a traditional chapter gallery where we can have things like member presentations. You can put up pictures of people giving their 10-minute presentations at the chapter meeting. And finally, the news feed, and this is what they've done with their news feed. They have some great information. They can use it as another page on your website to help build the credibilities of your members. So that's one example. Let me show you one more example before we jump into the system and go about editing these. Another example is the BNI Golden Ideas chapter in San Francisco. And here we go here, the BNI San Francisco Golden Ideas. Now, I like this page. They've done a kind of a dual column here, and a little bit not as long of a page as the other one, so a little bit less scrolling here. But they have here, I'd like to visit. If I click on hello, there's a message from their current president. They also put a map down there at the bottom. Here's what I think was really interesting about this one, and the reason that I'm pointing this particular site out. If I go to the chapter members page, they've done some really interesting things with the header up here. They actually programmed this in a way that, they've custom designed it again, this is a bit above and beyond, but I can click on, oh, it looks like it got broken since the last time I've been here. Uh-oh, that's no good. I'm going to have to get in touch with their webmaster because this used to work. Well, that's embarrassing. But what you used to be able to do is click on that, and it would actually show their members split out into contact spheres. So I'm going to get in touch with their president right after this and let them know that that's broken. So anyway, let's take a look at how we go about and update a lot of these things in BNI Connect. Now, in order to do that, if you're on the incoming leadership team, you're going to be starting on October 1st. You may not have the permissions to do this yet. So thank you for being here and learning about it. You'll be able to do that as of the 1st. That will be automatically assigned to you. Alternatively, if you're interested in becoming a chapter webmaster, just contact your regional office. They'll be able to assign the permissions to you. And for any executive directors, I know we have a couple of executive directors with us today, Karen and Dawn, and I believe there may be one or two others. You would assign chapter webmasters. That's actually done under admin, region, manage roles. As soon as you drop a chapter down, you can choose who the chapter webmaster is. All right, but to access this function, once you do have the permissions to do so, what you'll see is a tools menu up here. So we have network, operations, reports, tools, and admin. Network is the social media functions. Operations is the day-to-day management of your chapter. Reports are always read-only statistics and things like that. Tools are these special functions like the CMS Editor. CMS stands for Content Management System. And under here, what you should see is chapter websites. I'm going to click on chapter websites. When this pulls up, it's going to show you all of the websites that you have access to edit. So that said, you will always only see the chapters that you have access to. I happen to be a system administrator, so I am seeing all of the chapters in the region. More than likely, when you log in, you would just see one chapter. For example, this is my BNI Burr chapter in Antarctica. So if I click on this, antarcticareferrals.com, this is going to take us to the default page, and it'll show us what's up there right now. And again, these are public pages. They're indexed by Google and Yahoo and Bing and all those other search engines out there. Anybody can access these web pages. Again, they're on the public internet. So if you want to see what other people are seeing, you can take a look at it. Now, if you want to edit it, what we're going to do is under this options section here, there is a little edit link. So when I click that, this will take me into the back end of our website. And you'll notice here, this is a fairly traditional, what's called the CMS Editor, again, the Content Management System. And what we're seeing on this first tab is all of the pages of our website. We also see what's called a preview URL and a live URL. Now that's an important distinction right there. When we're working on our chapter website, so we're going in, we're updating pages, we're making edits, all that stuff, we're making changes to a copy of the website. So as we're making those changes and saving it and making changes and saving it, the rest of the world doesn't see what we're doing. Only we can see those temporary changes. When we're ready to show them to the world, what we have to do is take our preview site, the back-end copy that we're working on, and make that go live for everybody else to see. And we do that by publishing the site. So when we click publish, what it's going to do is take everything we're working on in the preview site and then upload it or overwrite the live site that everybody else is seeing. There'll be a momentary blip about 30 seconds where they wouldn't be able to access it. But right after that, it'll refresh and it will have all the new information on it. All right, so I'm going to come back to this page in a second because I want to show you a couple of these other tabs here on the top. The second tab here is called the Library tab. Now, the library is all of the custom images that you would like to put on your website. If you remember back to the rugby page, for example, they had all these pictures and everything all the way down their site. Same thing with Golden Ideas. They had a couple of pictures on their site as well. So the way we have to get those pictures onto the site is that we put them into the library. Once they're in the library and they're on the BNI Connect servers, we can then use them and input them into places on the website. So we do that by uploading them from your computer and into the BNI Connect servers. So we can do images, documents, or Flash objects. Let's just upload a couple of images. So I'm going to go to Images and click Upload. Now it's going to allow me to search my computer. They do have to be JPEGs, PNGs, or GIF files. And let's see if we can grab a couple of pictures here. Let's grab this Darth Vader one. I'm going to grab the, tell you what, let me find some, here we go. Now we have some BNI graphics here. So let's grab this, BNI Connect logo, and I'm going to grab the BNI Connect Help. Now I'm holding down the Control button, and I can select up to 3 images at a time. Click Open, and then upload those images. You don't have any limit. I mean, you can upload 1,000 images if you want to. There is a 5 megabyte limit per image. And that is done intentionally. We do have a limited amount of storage space. It is rather large, but it is limited. The second is that you kind of want to keep the images a little bit more respectably small. And the reason for that is that, otherwise it takes too long for people to load web pages. So 5 megabyte limit, but you can upload as many images as you'd like to. Now you can upload documents if you wanted to as well, to put links on the web page to share those. And then finally, Flash objects. I don't think anybody uses Flash anymore. I mean, this is just really a leftover from a couple of years back. If you really, really want to, you can upload Flash objects, although I do recommend against it. All right, so you got some images up there. Of course, if you want to delete them, just put a little check in the box and click the delete button. All right, let's take a look at the Site Information tab. That's the next tab over. Now, this one is really, we don't want to be making any changes on this with one exception, and that is this chapter folder name. Now, the chapter folder name is really, it's your kind of custom URL that goes along with your chapter site. And it's going to be a sub-page of your regional website. However, because these are all automatically generated, they can be a little bit, how would we put it, clunky when they first are generated. And it's just because, again, it's just using a script to generate that name. So it takes our regional website, which happens to be antarcticreferrals.com, / and then it takes the name of the region and then the name of the chapter and substitutes dashes for wherever there might be a illegal character that can't be used in a URL. So we ended up with antarcticreferrals.com / shiver region BNI -- burr, which really is kind of a pain in the neck. If you wanted to tell somebody to go to your chapter website, you'd be telling them, hey, yeah, just go to antarcticreferrals.com / shiver region BNI -- burr. So what we want to do is actually make that a little bit more user-friendly, and we can do that by changing the chapter folder name here. So I'm just going to take out all that extra stuff and just leave it as burr. So now it's going to end up being antarcticreferrals.com / burr. Now the final thing on here is that you can enter an analytics code. You do have to have a third-party analytics account. But then we're going to go ahead and click Update. So what we'll notice, you'll see here our preview site has changed and our live URL has changed as well. But, what happened? Our page can't be found. That's because we haven't updated it yet. So whenever you make changes on the site, if you want it to go live, you do have to click the Publish button. So I clicked Publish. Now I should be able to go to antarcticreferrals.com / burr. And here is our lovely default website. All right, so let's go back to this page here, this very first tab, and let's take a little bit of a closer look at this. So on the left-hand side here in the page column, we have, well, our different pages for our website: home, chapter members, gallery, and news. So if I go back over to the website here, we have home, chapter members, and news, but there's no gallery there. So we have home, chapter members, and then we also have member details, chapter details, send message. You can see by this little chevron here that it is a subsection or a sub-page of that. So if I go to chapter members, so this is the chapter members page. If I go in and look at Jeremy Walsh here, this is the member details sub-page. So again, we have the member details sub-page. Then we have the chapter details sub-page. So if I click on the chapter name here, this brings us to the chapter details sub-page. And finally, we have the send message sub-page. So let me show you that. Let me go back here. I have to pick somebody who doesn't have the send message turned off. We go to send message, and this is the send message subpage. And then we have the gallery and news page. Now the news page is a special page that's actually edited through the operations menu. It's supposed to be a collaborative page where members can participate in sharing news about the chapter. But we also have a gallery page. But when I looked at the chapter site, the gallery page is hidden. And that's because by default, it is not going to be shown. It's going to be hidden. And that's because, it doesn't make any sense to put up a completely blank page with that. And in order to show it, we're going to need to upload pictures into that gallery. It's supposed to be a photo album. So if we do want to enable it, we can click show. It'll ask us, do we want to show that page? We click submit. And now I'm going to publish this. And if I go back to the live page here, now we have a gallery page. And as you can see, it's an empty page. So that's why it's hidden by default. All right, with that gallery page, you'll also notice that there is a gallery tab here up at the top. So this is a special page, as I said. It is meant to be a picture gallery. So what you do is you can create albums on this page. So I can add an album of, let's say, BNI logos. Click submit, and then I can add various things into that album. So I can add a photo here, search my system, and here we have a BNI Connect logo. We can only do these one at a time because it is going to ask for descriptions for each one. But once I upload a couple of things here, then let me go back and publish. But now we have a gallery that has a BNI logos album, and it has a BNI logo in it. And that is the gallery tab. All right, so let's take a look at some of these other pages. We have the home page, for example. That's probably where you're going to spend most of your time. And what we'll see here is we have a couple of options along the top. We have edit name, edit meta tags, and edit content. Edit name is, if I go back to the website, I can change this name up here, these tabs along the top. So let's say that I don't want this to be the home page. I'm going to edit the name, and I want this to be the, I don't know, start here now page. So if I click submit, I'm going to go to the preview site here. And we can see that we have start here now on the top, right? So I updated the name of the page. Now, meta tags this is kind of what helps BNI Connect to be found in the various search engines. This is an art form in and of itself. I don't profess to be an SEO expert in any way, shape, or form. I do highly recommend that you talk to the SEO person in your group or a web person that can help you out with this particular part. And finally, we have content, and this is really kind of the bread and butter of editing your website. So you'll notice that along the left-hand side here and along the top, we can't really do much with those. I can't change anything on the left-hand side. I can't change the meeting speakers. That's because all of that information is going to be pulled automatically from BNI Connect and inserted into the website. So that's all automated on the back end. You can't do anything with that. However, it's this middle section here. This is really what we're going to be editing and going in and adding our own pictures and graphics and words and links and things like that. For you out there that are more advanced, if you're actual web designers by trade, you'll be happy to know that there is a source button here. If I click to source, I can go in and directly edit any of the source code here. For example, if I wanted to change this line to be a 52-point font, I can do that. And now I have a 52-point font for that first sentence. So it does give you the ability to do that, or even do the coding in another editor. I highly caution you with that. You can break the website if you do things incorrectly by doing that in another editor. Now, for you that are less savvy, which also includes myself, I do know enough to be dangerous, but that's about it. The main portion of this is really about the same as editing a Word document. So a lot of this is really just highlighting and bold and italic and underline. It's going to be, I can make bullet lists and, things like that. I can put in bullets, 1, 2, 3, and I can make, italics and things like that. I can change the font size, change the color, right? I can do highlights, just, again, all very, very basic stuff that if you've ever edited a Word document before, this is mostly going to be pretty straightforward. That said, a couple of slightly more advanced things that you're probably interested in. If you wanted to add one of those pictures, again, you can't just copy and paste a picture onto a website. First, you have to upload it to the gallery. Then the second step is you hit this picture button right here. So let's say I want to put the picture right here. I'm going to put my cursor there. I'm going to click the picture button. Now you'll see URL. What I have to do is go and browse for that picture. And I'm not browsing my computer anymore. I'm browsing the BNI library. So you can see there's some stock photos and things in there. But there's also the 1, 2, 3 images I uploaded earlier. So let's say I want this Stay Connected logo. And oh my goodness, that thing is huge. So let's change the width on that. Maybe I only want this to be maybe 100 pixels wide. And it'll automatically keep the proportions for me if I want to. I click OK, and now I have that graphic there in line. The other thing you may want to do is to have links. So for example, visit the support site. And I want support site to go to our support site. I highlight it, I click the link button, and I could make this support.bniconnect.com. And now whenever anybody clicks that, it will take them over to that site. All right, the rest of these buttons, like these up along the top, are form builders. You do have to be a little bit more advanced to use those, and you do have to keep the coding externally as well. But once you're done messing up your, making your site look beautiful, you want to click Save. We can close that, and now we can go look at our new site. Uh-oh, none of the changes were saved. That's because we still had to publish them. Again, it's going to stay on the preview site like this until you publish your website. So now I'm going to click the Publish button. Now if I go back to the live site, I can see all those gorgeous changes that I made. It'll also fill in all of the other accurate details about our chapter. And that, my friends, is the chapter websites. We are at the bottom of the hour. What I want to do now is to open this up to any questions that you have. Any questions at all about the chapter websites, or really anything in BNI Connect. I realize that people do have limited amounts of time. You guys all have jobs and families and other things going on, so I do want to be respectful of your time. Anybody that does need to leave right away, just a reminder, this is being recorded, including any questions. So if you'd like to review those, if you have to leave now, but you want to come back and review those, you can. I also welcome you to share this video and or invitations to the future webinars with other members in your chapter and your region. So we have a couple of questions that have come up. So Paola asks, who has access to this? Can the president have access to? So here's the deal. By default, all right, so by default, the president, the vice president, the secretary treasurer, the director consultant, and anybody assigned as the chapter webmaster will have access to do this. Now again, that's the default permissions. Every region does things slightly differently. So if you go to do this and you don't have access but you think you should, just contact your regional office, your executive director, your regional admin, your director consultant, and they can certainly help you out with this and get you access to it if you need it. Does that help, Paula? Awesome. Awesome. All right, let's see. Dawn asks, if we really mess this up, how do we fix it? So Dawn, in your case, as an executive director, you can always copy and paste the source code of another chapter site. If you are a single chapter webmaster, just a person in a chapter, contact support, contact your executive director. But Dawn, let me show you how you would fix this if, let's say you have a chapter that really messed up one of their sites. What I would do is go in my region here, go find another chapter that hasn't messed up their site. This is also how you could update one and copy it to all of your sites if you'd like a new look and feel on all of the chapters. So I know that the Burr chapter completely and totally messed up their site, but the Chili Hillbillies hasn't. So I'm going to go in and go to their page, go to their home page here, go to Edit Content, and I'm going to take their source code. So I'm going to copy this. Now, if you want to, you can drop that on, let's say, a notepad document just for safekeeping. I'm going to push this off to the side. Now I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to go right back to my other chapter. So I'm going to go to BNI Burr here, go to Edit. I'm going to edit the content of this page and Control V to paste that back in there. And you can see I put this right back to the way it was before. It doesn't do everything on the entire site. You still would have to, for example, change this name back to home. And the other pages would have to be done individually as well. So is that what you were looking for, Dawn? Does that help? And of course, don't forget to publish it. So Denise says, so it would be a great suggestion to copy our source homepage and save it prior to making changes if you're only a single webmaster. Yes, that is an absolutely great suggestion. As a matter of fact, I usually make that suggestion right in the beginning, but I forgot to do that today. So thank you for reminding me and reminding everybody. It's a good idea to do a quick notepad save of your source code. So. All right, let's see, a couple more questions we have here. Jeffrey says, we have a Facebook site. How do we put a Facebook link into our website? All right, so the Facebook links, those ones are a little bit tricky. Not super duper tricky, just a little bit tricky. So just to remind you, let's say my website here. We have this little Facebook link thing down here that if I click on it, it'll take us to, various Facebook sites and whatnot. So to do that, what we have to do is we actually have to go to Facebook and get their code for it. Okay, so easiest way to do that is just to do a Google search for Facebook widget or something like that. I don't remember actually. Facebook widget. So we have the page plugin, Facebook like box. I mean, that's pretty much what it ends up being. So we have the for example, the save button or the like button. We just have to put your code configurator in, and you can copy and paste the code that it gives you back into your page. But there's there's the like button. There's all these different types of buttons on the left-hand side. The follow button, where you can choose a profile that you're looking for. And all you need to do is copy and paste this into the source code where you want it to be. Does that help, Jeffrey? Same thing with things like YouTube videos. If you wanted to put a video on your site, this is actually a little bit easier. You could go to youtube.com/ whatever site it happens to be. Just find a YouTube video. And what you'll see here is the share button. You don't want this link. That'll just put a link. You want this embed code. And all you have to do is copy this. And let's say I want this on my home page, edit content. Now here's a little trick, by the way. Here's what I do. Now let's say I want this in the middle of the page right here, in between those two paragraphs. I always put an XXXXXXXXXXXXXXX on there. Then I go to the source code. I find the XXXXXX on there, and on here it may be easier to go like this. So here's the XXXXX. I know I can take this. I can either just usually replace the XXX or replace that whole line. Oops. Yeah. With that iframe code that I got from the YouTube site. Now I'll see a placeholder here, right? And I should then be able to save this. Oops, wrong button. I can then save this and be able to publish this on my page. Oops, I forgot to save it. Let's go back and do that quick again. Source. There it is. Save, publish, and get that back up there. And there's my video embedded. So again, mostly it's getting the code from the other site and just dropping it in there. All right, hopefully that helps. All right, Bruce says, in order to figure out what to put on our webpage, we need to understand who would use it and for what. I assume it's for both members and visitors. Can you talk a bit about who uses it? Sure. I mean, you just kind of hit the nail on the head right there. So the analytics will help you to figure out who's actually using it, but it's all going to be about how you promote the site as well. So getting it to be a meeting place or where your chapter goes to look for information, that's one strategy. If you'd like to use it for that, then that's obviously something that you're going to need to communicate with your chapter to get them to go there. To be honest with you, most chapters don't do that by default. but it can become a meeting place for them. And especially with that news page, that can be great for keeping track of current events. That can be, a weekly newsletter. It can be, an announcement place for your chapter without having to necessarily go and send a bunch of emails every week or have someplace else to do that. It's also a place where you can send visitors to, and that would be something that you really need to work on as a visitor is leaving your chapter to make sure that they have that information in order to know to go back there. I mean, Google's going to do an okay job of, you saw when I did BNI Rugby, when somebody leaves your chapter and they want to, oh yeah, I go back and I Google BNI Wakefield, hopefully Google will take that visitor back to that chapter. But again, it's kind of up to you as well to push using that site for both your visitors and your members. Now, does that make sense, Bruce? I mean, I guess it kind of dancing around the question a little bit, but it's more, it can be whatever you want it to be. All right, that was the last question I have on my screen here. Does anybody else have any questions whatsoever? I would love to answer those questions. All right, while you're thinking of any last minute questions, just a reminder, again, this is a whole series of webinars. If I go to the support site, now you get to the support site, click this question mark in the upper right-hand corner anywhere, and it will take you there. Go to live and recorded webinars. Upcoming webinars. Now, we only have a couple of webinars left this month. So tomorrow, Wednesday, September 28th, we're going to be going through the leadership team tools and reports, things like how to enter POMS reports and speaker rotations and things like that. Then on Thursday, we're going to be talking about goals, and on Friday, renewals. So if you please could promote those. A good referral for me is to let your other incoming leadership team members know about these webinars, especially tomorrow's, and please invite them to that. Or of course, you can share the links to the recordings afterwards. Denise says, if I have trouble posting our Facebook group page to our BNI Connect page, how can I contact you? The best way to do that is, again, go to the support site. When you get to the support site, up at the top, there's a thing that says submit a request. That will submit a ticket to our team, our support team, which will come to me, my Larry, Riaz, Jackie, and Frank. So that's our support team here. We'll be happy to help you out through that. More than likely, web questions like this, what I'll do is I'll end up referring you over to Frank. Frank is our team guru on all things CMS related, all these web pages. So does that help, Denise? Of course, you can always email support@bniconnect.com. Again, support@bniconnect.com. Support@bni.com will get you to headquarters for things like policy questions. Support@bniconnect.com will get you over to us for any technical questions. All right, I think that was the last question. So just going to say thank you guys so very much for being with me here today. I greatly appreciate that you took some time out of your busy schedules in order to be here and learn a little bit more about BNI Connect. I very much look forward to seeing you on a future webinar, and in the meantime, happy connecting.